Country singer Carrie Underwood's performance did not go exactly as planned Monday. A technical glitch took out her background track, and the silence was deafening.
Who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon.
In a jaw-dropping legal showdown that's shaking up Hollywood and the media world, country music icon Carrie Underwood is taking Joy Behar to court.
This is a big one. My first guest is a 7-time Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter who has sold over 64 million records worldwide. Please welcome to The Late Show, Carrie Underwood.
For a staggering $100 million. What sparked this high-stakes battle between the Grammy-winning singer and The View's outspoken co-host? Is it a case of defamation, personal vendetta, or something even deeper? Buckle up, because we're diving into all the details of this explosive case, the shocking claims, and what it could mean for both stars. Let's get into it. Carrie Underwood's unexpected inauguration announcement. The shock, the silence, and the backlash. When news broke that country music superstar Carrie Underwood was set to perform America the Beautiful at Donald Trump's upcoming inauguration,
Carrie Underwood is set to perform at Donald Trump's inauguration. The country star will sing America the Beautiful at the President-elect ceremony January 20th.
The reactions were anything but uniform. Some saw it as a natural choice. After all, she's an all-American icon with a voice perfectly suited for such a patriotic occasion. Others, however, were shocked, even skeptical. Was this real? Had Underwood herself confirmed it? Even those accustomed to political controversy in the entertainment industry found this announcement surprising. What made the situation even more intriguing was Underwood's complete and utter silence. For someone with an enormous social media presence, boasting over 133 million followers, one might have expected an immediate reaction. A post, a quick Instagram story, even a cryptic tweet. Something to acknowledge the buzz. But instead, her social media pages remained eerily quiet. Her most recent posts? Completely unrelated. One about her root cellar and another featuring some people, neither giving the slightest hint that a major career moment was unfolding.
The country star was invited to sing America the Beautiful at the ceremony on January 20th.
For a star of her caliber, this silence was unusual. Celebrities today are not just performers. They are brands. They carefully shape their public image, particularly when their name is tied to something as politically charged as a presidential inauguration. It's common practice for stars and their teams to control the narrative, to confirm or deny reports, to explain their stance before assumptions take over. Yet, in this case, Underwood allowed media outlets like the New York Times to break the news before she had said a single word about it. The question loomed large. Why? Was this a carefully planned decision to remain neutral and avoid stirring controversy? Or was it an unexpected leak that caught her off guard? Could it be that she had agreed to the performance but wasn't quite ready for the world to know? Or perhaps she was reconsidering the decision altogether?
The internet found out Carrie Underwood would be singing at Trump's inauguration, and it's causing quite a roar of online backlash.
Silence in the entertainment industry often speaks louder than words. In an era where celebrities instantly address rumors, defend their choices, and shape their own narratives, Underwood's lack of response only fueled curiosity. Was she waiting for the right moment? Was she calculating her next move? Or was she simply uninterested in engaging in the conversation at all? As the inauguration date approached, one thing was clear. Whether she intended it or not, Underwood's silence had made this announcement even bigger than it already was. The performance itself would be momentous, but for now, the real spectacle was the mystery surrounding it. Performing at the presidential inauguration would most likely have a serious effect on her reputation. Whether the positive would outweigh the negative isn't clear yet, but she seems to be caught up in a tense political storm. Let's delve into the details of the political battle that erupted from her performance at the event. A country star in a political storm. For years, Carrie Underwood has skillfully navigated the music industry without wading into the turbulent waters of politics.
Country superstar Carrie Underwood has spent most of her career avoiding political talk, but she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration.
She has built her career on powerful vocals, heartfelt storytelling, and a carefully maintained public image, one that avoids controversy. Unlike many artists who have used their platforms to take political stands, Underwood has remained neutral, letting her music speak for itself. But by agreeing to perform at the inauguration of a deeply divisive president, she inadvertently stepped into the political arena. Whether she realized it or not, her decision carried weight. In a time when public figures are scrutinized for their affiliations, simply taking the stage at such an event became a statement. Some artists, including many in the country music world, have deliberately steered clear of political endorsements, understanding the risk of alienating large portions of their fan base. Yet here she was, singing for a leader whose policies and rhetoric had split the nation in two.
Fox News poll, is Trump drawing the country together or tearing the country apart? 59% of their respondents tearing it apart.
Critics wasted no time pointing out the contradictions. Underwood, the daughter of an elementary school teacher, was now performing for a president who had openly proposed weakening the Department of Education. The contrast felt unsettling. How could someone with her background lend credibility to an administration that many viewed as hostile to public education? The dissonance was impossible to ignore. And then there was the irony tied to her music. Underwood is celebrated for empowering anthems, songs like Before He Cheats, which champions strength, revenge, and self-respect. Her discography paints the picture of a woman who refuses to be silenced or pushed around. Yet now, she was aligning herself, even if unintentionally, with an event that many saw as a step backward for women, minorities, and marginalized groups. To some, it felt like a betrayal of the very themes that had endeared her to millions. Social media erupted. Fans and critics alike flooded the internet with questions, confusion, and outrage. Carrie, why? Is this a desperate move to stay relevant? Are you struggling to keep your career afloat? The backlash was swift and unrelenting, proving once again that in today's hyper-connected world, no action, especially one as visible as this, goes unnoticed. Perhaps Underwood believed she was simply doing her job, treating the performance as any other gig. But in an era where entertainment and politics are increasingly intertwined, neutrality is a luxury few celebrities can afford. Whether she intended to or not, Carrie Underwood had made a statement, and the world was listening. But did her actions trigger reactions and backlash from her fans? Did anyone hail her for acknowledging the invitation? Let's find out. The predictable backlash. Supporters and detractors. The controversy erupted almost instantly. As soon as the news broke, social media was flooded with reactions, some filled with anger, others with unwavering support. The backlash came swiftly and fiercely, dividing her fans into two distinct camps. On one side stood those who felt deeply let down, especially the more progressive supporters who had long admired Underwood for her undeniable talent and grace. To them, her decision to perform at this event wasn't just disappointing, it felt like a betrayal. They believed she was lending credibility to an administration whose policies and values they passionately opposed. Their frustration boiled over in furious tweets and passionate posts. How can you say you love this country while singing for someone who is actively working against everything it stands for?
She says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon?
I used to respect her, but I can't support someone who supports him. To these critics, her performance was more than just a musical appearance. It symbolized an endorsement, a silent nod of approval to a political figure they believed had caused harm. In their eyes, it was impossible to separate art from the artist's choices, and this particular choice spoke volumes. But if the outrage was loud, the defense was just as forceful. Many of her more conservative fans, along with commentators on the right, quickly came to her defense. They saw the backlash as another example of what they believed to be a glaring double standard in the entertainment industry. According to them, celebrities who express left-leaning views are often celebrated and even praised for their political stances, while those who dare to step outside that ideological bubble or even acknowledge figures on the right face swift condemnation. To them, Underwood's performance had nothing to do with politics and everything to do with patriotism. She was a singer performing for the President of the United States, and in their minds, that should never be controversial. Some even argued that her choice was a strategic one, a smart business move.
And she's saying, I love my country. I think this is a great chance to express that love and participate in a moment of unity
that ensured her music remained accessible to a broad audience rather than alienating potential fans. Why is it okay for artists to sing at events for left-leaning politicians, but not for a right-wing president? One supporter asked. Performing for a president doesn't mean you agree with everything they do. It's about respecting the office, not the individual. As the debate raged on, one thing became clear. This was no longer just about a performance. It was about the ongoing cultural divide in the country, where every action by a public figure is scrutinized through a political lens. Whether Underwood saw her performance as a simple gig or a patriotic duty, the world around her had already decided. It was something much bigger. From a purely strategic standpoint, performing at a presidential inauguration could be a game-changing move for Underwood. Was her performance a calculated move to help her rise to a higher pedestal? Let's look into the possibility of honoring the invitation for career growth. A strategic career move. While the entertainment industry, particularly mainstream music and Hollywood, tends to lean liberal, country music has historically maintained a strong conservative following. With Trump securing over 75 million votes in the election,
Donald Trump has just crossed the 76 million vote mark, the first Republican president in history.
This meant that a massive audience, one that deeply values traditional American ideals, was ripe for embracing Underwood as their new musical champion. For an artist of her stature, this opportunity could serve as a powerful career boost. By taking the stage at such a politically charged event, she could solidify her presence in the country music world as someone unafraid to acknowledge and connect with the right-leaning demographic. This could lead to a surge in album sales, increased radio airplay, and packed concert venues in conservative-dominated regions. It wouldn't be the first time politics and country music intersected. History has shown that political affiliation, or even perceived alignment, can influence an artist's trajectory. The Dixie Chicks, for instance, faced significant backlash after criticizing a Republican president, losing much of their fan base almost overnight. But what if Underwood flipped the script? Instead of suffering the consequences of a political stance, she could gain traction and loyalty from an audience that feels underrepresented in the entertainment world. However, stepping onto such a stage would not come without consequences. The entertainment industry may lean left, but Underwood's fan base spans across the political spectrum. Many of her loyal listeners, who have followed her since her American Idol days, might see this move as an endorsement of a controversial political figure. In today's hyper-polarized climate, even a seemingly neutral action, such as accepting an invitation to perform, could be interpreted as taking sides. The fallout could be severe: lost endorsements, dwindling album sales in liberal majority areas, and alienation from industry peers. The big question then becomes, is the potential gain worth the risk? Would winning over a new conservative audience outweigh the backlash from her existing liberal fans? It's a delicate balancing act. Some artists thrive in controversy, leveraging it to maintain relevance. Others fade away, their careers permanently damaged by the perception of political allegiance. Ultimately, Underwood's decision would not just be about music, it would be about identity. How did she want to be seen? As an artist who remains politically neutral, catering to all fans? Or as a country music star willing to embrace the values of a significant yet divisive portion of her audience? In an era where public figures are expected to take a stand, sometimes even silence is seen as a statement. Whether she performed or not, her decision would speak volumes. But what made people have so much disgust for the president? Let's delve into the polarized political space and the issues surrounding the president. Trump's conviction and the polarization of politics. The controversy surrounding Underwood's decision quickly became part of a much bigger conversation. One that wasn't just about Trump's legal troubles, but about the very nature of political debate in America. His critics wasted no time labeling him a convicted felon, using the term to suggest deep moral and legal failings. But his supporters pushed back just as strongly, pointing out that while he had been found guilty in a court of law, he had not yet served any prison time. To them, the label was an exaggeration, a weaponized phrase meant to discredit him rather than a fair assessment of his legal status. As the battle over Trump's legal fate raged on, it became another flashpoint in America's ongoing culture war. Some conservatives scoffed at the outrage from the left, claiming that his conviction had been blown wildly out of proportion. They accused their opponents of hypocrisy, pointing to liberal politicians and influential figures who had faced serious allegations, yet were spared the same level of media scrutiny or legal consequences. One prominent commentator even went so far as to mock the entire situation, sarcastically arguing that Trump's so-called conviction—
President-elect Donald Trump has just been sentenced for his conviction in the criminal hush money case in New York—
was little more than a media-driven narrative designed to destroy his political future. But not everyone was convinced that this was merely partisan noise. Others argued that standing by a leader with a criminal record set a troubling precedent. They asked how one could profess loyalty to the country while defending someone accused of undermining its democratic institutions. For them, the issue wasn't just about Trump. It was about the long-term consequences of normalizing criminality in politics. What began as a debate over one man's legal troubles quickly evolved into a broader and more urgent discussion about the country's ideological divide. To some, Trump's legal woes were proof of a broken system that unfairly targeted political outsiders. To others, they were a warning sign that the rule of law itself was at risk. In a deeply divided nation, the arguments weren't just about justice. They were about the very soul of America. While Carrie was under fire for her performance, her silence is an indicator that she is aware of her actions and the implications. Her fans and the entire public are actually unsure of her intents, making it more speculative. Let's do a little reflection on the situation, surrounding circumstances, her actions and silence, as well as the resultant reactions. A reflection of the times. At the core of this heated debate lay a stark reminder of the world we live in today, a time when almost nothing remains neutral. Every action, no matter how innocent or well-intended, is scrutinized, interpreted, and inevitably turned into a political statement. The era when artists could simply step on stage, sing their hearts out, and walk away without controversy seems to be long gone. Now, every performance, every choice, and even every silence carries weight, subject to intense public and media analysis. Carrie Underwood's quiet absence from social media only added fuel to the speculation. Was she intentionally staying silent to let the storm pass? Did she regret her decision and fear backlash? Or was she merely waiting for the right time to speak? The mystery surrounding her response, or lack thereof, only intensified the controversy. In the end, what should have been a straightforward musical performance morphed into something far greater, a symbol of the ongoing clash between political ideologies, media influence, and the increasingly thin line between entertainment and activism. The debate over her involvement wasn't just about one artist. It reflected a broader cultural divide, where celebrities are often expected to take sides whether they wish to or not. The lasting impact of this event on Underwood's career remains uncertain. Would it open new doors or close existing ones? Would she gain a new audience or alienate longtime fans? These questions linger, and only time will reveal the answers. However, one fact is undeniable. Her name is now deeply woven into the larger discussion about fame, politics, and the shifting landscape of American culture. Would she eventually break her silence and address the uproar? If she did, would she stand by her decision or attempt to distance herself? No one could say for sure. But one thing was clear. This was not just another fleeting controversy. It was a moment that had captured national attention, one that would shape conversations and perceptions for a long time to come. What do you think about Carrie Underwood dragging Joy Behar to 100M Court? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.